Okay. Ooh, almost forgot. All right. All right. What's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a frigid Tuesday edition of Morning Scone presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, Hoodco Roofing, hoodcoroofing.com, Restored Motions, restoredmotions.com, and ProCharge EV, prochargeev.com. All right, happy frigid Tuesday. It's 20 degrees. I think the 20 degrees in and of itself isn't the thing that's the huge concern. It's the fact that we had a wintry mix, some precipitation last night, and that froze everything over. So schools are closed and basically everything's closed today. But you know what they say in show business, y'all? You know the old adage, right? The show must go on. So we're here for Morning Scone, and our lineup will be live today for off the bench, live at lunch on Palmer, and then AFR3. So we're looking forward to being there. Real quick, I am going to get into the discussion that's on the thumbnail, which is about Karl Scott. So I want to talk about that here in a second. There is a small change. YouTube, you're not noticing anything different, but Facebook might be today. So I have a microphone. I have a new streaming laptop. And very likely starting mañana, tomorrow, we will be, you will probably see, all of you should notice some substantial upgrades to our process here and your viewing and listening experience of Morning Scone. We may not need this sign anymore. Anyway, you all should have really clearer audio, etc. And anyway, looking forward to it. So give me some feedback, Facebook, on what you see and all that sort, and what you hear. I'll be very curious to know your thoughts. So anyway, okay, we'll say some good mornings. If you notice there on the thumbnail and on the description today, we talk about Karl Scott. Brought up Karl Scott because you all asked, and I say that sometimes, that you sometimes can be my best eyes, ears, etc. So for those who aren't familiar, Karl Scott is a football coach, most recently with Seahawks. Of course, Pete Carroll was fired, so the staff there in Seattle most likely going to be let go. Karl Scott's young. He's only 38 years old. And most recently here was the secondary coach and passing game coordinator with the Seahawks. Prior to that, he's with the Vikings. And he spent 3 years in Tuscaloosa as the Alabama defensive backs coach from 2018 to 2020. Stint at Texas Tech. He's also been at Louisiana Tech and Southeastern Louisiana. So he's got ties to the state, ties to the SEC. Coached for Nick Saban in college, Pete Carroll in the NFL, among others. And really is a Pete Golding guy, right? So Pete Golding, Karl Scott worked under Pete Golding at Southeastern. Of course, Pete Golding went to Bama, then now to Ole Miss. But that's the connection there with Karl Scott. So a lot of people had asked about Karl Scott, and so I made a call, and what I am willing to say, and nothing more than this, is that LSU has made contact with Karl Scott. I am willing to say that. What I don't know yet is, and there's more layers to it, what I don't know yet is what interest he may have. I am certain that there will be a lot of opportunities for a really young, talented coach like that who's currently got NFL experience. Does he want to stay there, or does he want to come back to the college game? Don't know. And the other thing I don't know also yet is for which position LSU might be discussing. Here's what I mean. So if you've, as we've talked about LSU building its staff out, you've heard me say several times that I think ultimately Brian Kelly needs to decide how he wants to build out his staff. And what I mean is, if they promote Joe Sloan and Cortez Hankton to co-OCs, which seems more and more likely, okay, well, you have to hire a tight ends coach. Well, if you do that, I know they've wanted to bring on a special teams coordinator. That may not be possible. It's my understanding that Blake Baker will coach linebackers. And so that means defensively, he will have to add a secondaries coach or two. And it's Blake Baker's preference to have a cornerbacks coach and a safeties coach. Well, if you do that and you could have a cornerbacks coach and a safeties coach and you hire a tight ends coach, then you can't have a special teams coordinator. You don't have enough spots. So I'll go back to that point. Like, how does Brian Kelly want to structure his staff? That's a big question. The other thing too is who is going to have the final say. And that may sound dumb, and you may think, well, of course Brian Kelly has the final say. He's the head coach. Maybe, but at a lot of places, especially a place like LSU, there's just a lot of cooks in the kitchen. There always has been. And people want to have their say, and they try to leverage whatever experience or influence they have to try to get their way. And that's okay. I think that probably happens everywhere. So every day we sit here, we do this show, and every single day you all ask me about Corey Raymond. Like, every day here, every day on AFR, and I keep telling you the same answer, which is I know there's people internally that are pushing for him to be hired, and ultimately, Brian Kelly has the final say and what's going to happen, and so I don't know. Here's what has become pretty clear to me. And again, I know I keep throwing out the caveat, but I feel like I have to keep throwing out the caveat because I don't want to be misinterpreted again and comments taken out of context and have it bite me in the T-hiney. So, as I will always say with coaching searches, it's never done until it's done. Like, ink dry on contract, press release out, coach at podium. I mean, we've all talked about Kevin Peoples, y'all. LSU has not officially, formally named Kevin Peoples an assistant coach. We've all talked about it. Everybody's reported it, but LSU hasn't released it yet. They haven't formally announced him. So I'm not saying he won't be on staff. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying, like, LSU hasn't formally announced it yet. Here's the thing. So there's a few pieces, as I sort of said. It's how are they going to structure the staff, number one. And number two, I think they have some internal conflict on whether or not to bring Corey back. What I have told you from the beginning is I know Corey wants to come back. And I know there are people both in the athletic administration and on the football staff that want Corey Raymond back. I am completely confident in saying that. What is also now clear to me, and the reason why this hasn't happened yet, is there are people in the athletic administration and on the football staff who do not want him back. So and would like to go a different direction is maybe a better way to say it. So I think you have this struggle, and the real question is, well, who wins? Who ultimately has the final say? And I don't know the answer to that. I'm just telling you candidly, I don't know the answer. When you're talking about athletic administrators, like everybody is somebody's boss, right? Blake Baker is the defensive coordinator. Should Blake Baker be able to name his staff? Yes. But Blake Baker has a boss, and that's Brian Kelly. Shouldn't Brian Kelly have full autonomy to hire the staff he wants? In theory, yes. But Brian Kelly has bosses. And could the bosses ultimately veto staff additions or hires or changes? Yes. Because ultimately, they're the ones who sign the checks, so to speak. And athletic administrators, don't they have to go hand in hand to boosters to collect money and to piece? Yes. I mean, so it's weird that you have that it seems that ambiguous, but it is. So that's why I keep saying I don't know who has the final say. I know there are people on staff and in athletic administration that want to hire Corey Raymond. I know that, and I know Corey wants to come back. And I also know there are people on the football staff and in athletic administration who want to go a different direction. So I do not know ultimately what happens. There is, like I mentioned a bit ago, there is, I think, a growing belief that LSU will go co-OCs. They'll promote Joe Sloan, make Sloan and Hankton co-OCs. Sloan will call plays. I think, again, it's never done until it's done, okay? And they could certainly go a different direction if another option presents, and it could certainly happen that way. I'll remind you, last year, they didn't make the change with Polian as special teams coordinator until February. It was February 21st. It was after the February signing date. So I don't think necessarily it's something that's imminent. I don't know that you have an announcement today, but I think that's the way they'll go. And it seems like that's the way that they'll go as of now. And I've told you, tight ends coach, the names that I've heard is Slade Nagel, who's at Tulane. And then the other name that I heard yesterday was John McNulty. So two names to keep in mind. Slade Nagel, younger coach who was just at Tulane for 4 seasons or so. And John McNulty. So John McNulty's 55. He spent this year as an analyst at Bama, and he was Brian Kelly's tight ends coach at Notre Dame in 2020 and 2021. Tons of NFL experience as well. And you might say, well, then why didn't Brian Kelly bring him with him to Baton Rouge? Well, they hired Mike Denbrock as the OC, and Denbrock coached tight ends. So anyway, so John McNulty, Slade Nagel would be the two names at tight ends coach that I've heard. If in fact they decide to promote Sloan and Hankton as the co-OC structure. So, okay, there's some stuff for you. And I'm sure 1,000 of you are going to still ask me the same questions I just answered. But anyway, glad to have you aboard. Please smash the like button if you would. If you're new, subscribe up to the channel. Facebook, please like the Matt Moscona page, share the post. We appreciate you. Yeah, in Facebook, let me know, man, if it looks or sounds different today, better or worse. Again, I have a different camera and different microphone set up today. I'm curious what y'all think. Okay. Chad Jenkins, James McKinney, Jerry G, Jason H, morning, y'all. Taylor Hudson, Jaleel Dean, what's up? Been a while since I caught one of your lives. Well, thanks for being here, man. Appreciate it. William Kimbrough, 13 degrees here in Stonewall. Okay. Randall Offrecht, good morning. Cajun Country, morning, Matt. On brisk, great day. Wanted to go run this morning. My wife and mom both told me I was nuts. Yeah, Sean, you may want to pack it in, man, today. Just because if you go run and you hit a patch of ice on the sidewalk, that could be bad. I remember when I went to school at Holy Cross, walking to class on, well, not just snow days. I mean, every day was a snow day. Every day was ice. It just was a perpetual state of snow and ice for, 8 months. That was always a little scary, man. You had to be really careful just walking with snow boots on. You were always liable to hit some black ice and just on your back. Zach Swan, good morning. Jerry, please don't bring Pete Carmichael. I'm going to lose it big time. Yeah, I don't think that's an option. Is Nick Sirianni fired yet? What a collapse from 10-1 to losing, 6 of your last 7. Hat tip to Jimmy Ott, who did give us the Bucks last night plus the 3. So needed that one. Feel like we were right side losers with Detroit, and then we had Pittsburgh in the first game yesterday. So needed one, man, and got it last night. Tiger Diver at 12 degrees at DFW. Wow. Bubba Tatum, Brennan Huff, a little cold on my 5 a.m. walk this morning. I normally get up and go work out at 5:30. But I decided not to. They've been telling everybody to stay off the roads and everything, so I decided not to. Even though it's just down the street, but still, all the ice on the roads and everything, I wouldn't want to spin out, especially when it's dark outside still. So I didn't go this morning. So I'll very much look forward to tomorrow, hopefully being able to get back and sweat a little bit. Barry Jocelyn, what's going on? Can't believe how cold it is for y'all in BR. I'd love to have some of that. It's 71 in Southwest Florida for real. Ready for some cooler weather. I don't know, Barry. I'd switch with you in a heartbeat. Give me sunny and 71 over 20 degrees. Brian Penn, good morning from Fremont, Nebraska. A balmy -35. Whew. Trivia Carter, Brant Roban. Has Bama retained most of their players since Saban left? Well, sure, most, but that doesn't mean they haven't had significant losses. I mean, Isaiah Bond, Desmond Ricks are certainly significant. Their tight end hit the portal yesterday as well. They've lost a couple of commitments, a couple of 5-star commitments, one for 24 and one for 25. So they've had some attrition. That's, I think, to be expected. Larry Gardner, Terrell Walker, good morning. Snowy day in BR. The family and I are snowed here in Millington, Tennessee. Kids no school and teleworking for me. Okay. Y'all be safe, man, for sure. Cortland, I would have thought Bulls could get fired had they lost, since winning the South wasn't a real achievement. After last night, I don't see how they could fire him now. I agree. Brian Wynn, Robert Brantley, Jeff Hawk, good morning. Sharon Ellis, good morning. Ryan Pike, Isaiah Bond said it was a business decision. Then posted a private story of him in a Lamborghini in Austin. I doubt very seriously anybody bought him a Lamborghini. I mean, you'd be surprised how affordably you can rent a car like that for a day. Barry Jocelyn, good morning. Let's have a day where no one uses punctuation at all in the comment section. Okay, what do y'all think? Have a good day. Stay safe, warm, long live Morning Scone Team Drew, with no punctuation anywhere. Oh, Barry. Spurge, good morning. Official Friday. Bussy wants to visit before he commits. That'd be great. Bussy, of course, is 5-star Terry Bussy. So the current A&M commit athlete, you'd love to get him on campus and love to get him part of this 2024 class. Jerry G still in bed watching TV, staying warm. Pat Huseman, good morning. Yeah, Cortland mentioned Missouri defensive lineman hitting the transfer portal. And would LSU be a possible target? I don't know how. I don't know how that wouldn't be a possibility, right? So you sign, you add Blake Baker and Kevin Peoples. It certainly seems sorry. Huh. I'm making sure I have the right name. I think it's. I'm not talking about Trajan Jeff Code. Who are we talking about here? It was Zion Young, but that I may have that wrong. No, he committed. What's the name of the Missouri kid that hit the portal? I can't find it. Anyway, yeah, so there was a Missouri defensive lineman who entered the transfer portal. I kept finding Zion Young, but that's not it. That's the kid from Michigan State who just committed to Missouri. Can't find the kids. I saw it yesterday. Anyway. Ooh, that's what's wrong. I'm sorry, y'all. And I'm on this new machine. I'm trying to log into my email. I know that's not exactly what y'all are just, whatever. I'll do that later. Sorry. I know that's annoying. Y'all aren't sitting here watching to watch me try to log into Twitter on a new machine. Sorry. Okay, I'll just move on. Lowell Cormier, good morning. -8 there in North Dakota. Brian Broom, Bubba Smith, Kelly Gross, Kerry Hughes, good morning. Chicago, -12, feels like -30. So, Holy Cross in South Bend, where I went to school for a year and lived, is if you look at Lake Michigan, right? You look where Chicago is. Lake Michigan does this. It's like a U, right? So Chicago is right here on the southwest part of the lake. You just keep going down and do this, boop. South Bend is on the southeast side of the lake. So, I mean, just you go like Chicago, boop, straight across there, South Bend. And so Cary, -12 feels like -30. That's precisely why I never want to live in the Midwest ever again. That is just not livable. Scott Barnes, good morning. Kenneth Westbrook, Billy Burtonier, good morning. Jeff Duncan reporting, big day at Saints headquarters, so it begins. We'll see. Blaine Smith, please come to LSU Coach Scott. Jim Arsenault, Blaine Smith said, shouldn't Brian Kelly have the final say? In theory, but sometimes, the head coach will delegate to his coordinators. For example, when Ed Ogeron was trying to retain Dave Aranda back in 2018 when A&M came calling, that was the year that they allowed the 10th full-time assistant, and Aranda wanted to add a safeties coach. So Aranda is the one who handpicked Bill Bush. So, like I say, man, everybody has a boss, Deborah Coward, good morning. Blaine Smith, don't ask Kelly to win championship, then deny his moves. Don't be mad when he takes another job. Yeah, Blaine, I'm not so sure that Brian Kelly is necessarily the one being I don't think Brian Kelly is one of the ones pushing to add Corey Raymond. I'll say it that way. So that's why I don't know who's going to have final say. Does Blake Baker have final say on his staff? Does Brian Kelly have full autonomy? I mentioned ultimately the athletic administrators are the coaching staff's bosses, and there's disagreement there. So I don't know. I don't know who's going to have final say and how they're going to do it. Kerry Hughes, what would Kelly's issues with Corey Raymond be if he had to guess? Oh, I think it's a lot of, look, I think you can, listen, you can formulate an argument however you want, Kerry. I mean, there was a lot of, whenever we first started talking about Corey, you had a lot of fans jump out and say, no, look at his defenses, how bad they've been in the last 4 or 5 years, whatever the case may be. And I think that's silly. There's an easy way to explain that. After COVID, you were gutted. In 2020, you had Stingley opted out. You end up starting a couple of true freshmen in Ricks and McLaughlin, who both played pretty well. Cordell Flott became the best nickel guy in the country, but Bo Pelini's defense was atrocious. Like, are we blaming Bo Pelini's defense on Corey? And then Ed got fired, and you had this giant exodus, and people say, well, he stopped recruiting. No, he didn't. Everybody left. So anyway, but if you just want to look and say, well, look at the pass defense the last 5 years, where Corey's been, you could say, well, look, they've dropped off dramatically. Durante Jones, Bo Pelini, what was the talent like at Florida this year? They had gigantic issues all over the defense at Florida. I guess for me, where it starts is you got to be able to get players, and I know he'll get players. Blaine Smith, Jeff McKithen, Jim Arsenault, who coached DBs last year. Well, it was Robert Steeples coached corners and Kerry Cooks coached safeties, and both were let go. Jason Williams, Blaine Smith lost power for 3 hours, not ideal during a freeze. Blaine, tell you, man, we had Schutz do a standby generator a few years ago. So shout out Schutz Electric. They did an awesome job. I'll sing their praises forever. They were amazing to work with. And that was something that after Ida, Eric and I had always talked about doing a standby generator. And after Ida, it was like, okay, we're not doing this again, like ever again. And the biggest problem for us is Drew. I mean, Drew has, medicines that have to stay cold. And, while unlikely, if he gets into a medical episode, we could need his oxygen concentrator, where you have to have power. Just functionally keeping him comfortable where you can't explain why you don't have power and he can't, watch TV. I know first world problems and all, but anyway, so we decided, after Ida, we were getting a standby generators, and it's like I'll never live in a house again where we don't have one. It's just the peace of mind and the convenience of never having to worry about a power outage is pretty awesome. Jim Arsenault, okay, cool. Said, sounds good. Good mic upgrades. Gus Wales, camera image looks soft to me. Okay. Mark Hammond, Quentin Breakbill, David Tolson, what's up? In Charleston, South Carolina today. All right. Randy Dabdoob. What did Randy say? I missed it. Delayed sound, not very clear picture. Okay. Julio Mendez, good morning. -15 in northern Colorado. Lance Full, Chevis Jackson for DB coach. Rick Manuel, good morning. How many Bama players have entered the portal? How many more days can they enter the portal? Well, you have 30 days from the time. So Saban resigned on Wednesday, whatever that date was. You have 30 days from there. Notably, Isaiah Bond, Des Ricks, tight end, one of their offensive linemen. They've had some players jump in. Steve Menard, good morning. Thad Landry. Scott Wheat, good morning. Isaiah Hastings. That's the kid from Missouri, Isaiah Hastings. No, that's not, no. That's not what I'm talking about. Hastings was an Alabama guy. Yeah, Isaiah Hastings, Alabama defensive line transfer, who's committed to Syracuse. That was yesterday. That's not what I was talking about. Kevin Forshag, Rocky Killian. I'm not asking about Corey Raymond today. You missed the start of the show, man. We talked a lot about it. Scott Beckham, good morning. Let's see. Scott said the sound is better. Was watching on YouTube. Switch over to Facebook. Cool. Let's see. Nathan Norman, good morning. Any GameCoin news? So Nathan, I actually will be on a call this morning at 10 a.m. About GameCoin. And yes, there's amazing news. I actually last night saw the, I guess what we could tab the final design for the digital trading cards, and in the next public release. So whereas every Monday they were doing updates, they're now doing one Monday a month. Well, they'll give you updates on all the social platforms. The next one they will include you'll get to see what the digital trading cards are going to look like. It's really cool. It's very close. So make sure you're following on Facebook and all that stuff. So that's what confused me. Someone said it was Hastings, but he already chose Syracuse. That's what confused me, because I noticed that he already committed to Syracuse. And that's, of course, where Elijah Robinson, who was the Texas A&M defensive line coach, is now on staff at Syracuse. So, all right, good morning, y'all. Let's see. Joe Parker, good morning. Brad Sellers, Cortland Jacob, Freddie Cortez, H-Town Creole, Ernest Gray, good morning. Daryl Summers. Matt, remember to keep up your maintenance on your generator. Yeah, man. So we have, like, we did their whatever their maintenance plan, right? So they come out seasonally, quarterly, whatever it is, and service it. So we're with shoots. I mean, I'm always that guy. Like I would rather just pay someone who does that every single day to say, hey, put me on your list and your schedule and make sure that you come out here and make sure that thing always runs. So, Gorilla, did you spend secondary on that Weller lineup? Nope. Gorilla, I don't know that I'd have to think about it. I don't know that I've ever paid a secondary price for a bottle of whiskey, ever. I just refuse. There's too much good stuff that that's affordable and attainable, that it's not worth spending obnoxious prices for a bottle just to have on the shelf. I'll tell you the Weller Special Reserve, Weller 107, and Weller 12. Those are all attainable. Like you can find those. You got to be diligent, but you can get them. The CYPB, I had a place where I'm a good customer sell me that for retail. And then the Weller single barrel, the orange Weller, I won in a raffle a couple of years ago. The one I don't have is Foolproof, the blue label. It's the only Weller I don't have. But no, I did not spend secondary. Pat Huseman, good morning, Black Goatee. Morning, Matty. Curious to see with so many dynamic wide receivers and running backs, what's the offensive strategy? Do you have any thoughts yet? Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be exactly what it was in the bowl game. It's going to look a lot like it did this year. The only difference is you don't have the dynamic of a running quarterback because you're not going to run Nuss the way you did Jaden. And obviously when plays break down and Jaden could make things happen with his feet, that's not really Garrett's game. So that's when I think you either see balls thrown away, hopefully, and not forced into bad spots where you turn it over. Harold Go, LSU, Tulane just announced new OC, Joe Craddock. Does this mean Nagel is on the move? I have no idea. I can't tell you that I know anything about what Joe Craddock is going to do or the Tulane staff. All I know is what I was told weeks ago is that if LSU retained Sloan as OC, Slade Nagel would be the top target for tight ends coach. And then yesterday was also told John McNulty was the other one, who was spent this last year at Bama as an analyst, and the previous 2 years under Brian Kelly was the tight ends coach at Notre Dame. Ben, could the holdup on Corey Raymond have anything to do with Sharon Lewis lawsuit? No. Flatly no. Mark Allen, Barry Jocelyn, Randall Offrecht. Sorry, I'm trying to scroll here. Joe Parker, are you getting rid of T-Bob? No, Joe, why would I get rid of T-Bob? No, man. T-Bob and Hester do an awesome job. The show does great. They got a great following. They're just about sold out. No, I'm not getting rid of T-Bob. Dalton Barnett, Morning Matthias, hope all is well. Hashtag Team Drew, hashtag E-Rock the boat. Okay. Cozy Cotters, what's up? Christopher Slim, holy crap, that fire was close to the Hudco building last night. I missed what fire? I have no idea. I don't watch the news. I didn't know there was a fire. And nobody's told me anything this morning. Bailey C. Baker Mayfield has double the playoff wins of the Emperor, His Majesty. Oh, I think that calls for a bit of a celebration today on air. I think we may have some fun with that. Mike the Tiger, Jaden Daniels, Heisman. Just imagine the Saints could lose to Detroit on Sunday if you didn't blow a 17-point lead in Green Bay. # fire Dennis Allen. Yeah, that's true. Well, here's what is true. Had the Saints not blown a 17-point lead with 12 minutes to go up in Green Bay, the Saints, and all else is equal, the Saints win the division and they're hosting the Eagles last night. Now, the Saints defensively have notoriously struggled against quarterbacks that can run. But so I would not have scribbled a W next to the Saints had they played Philly. But Philly really struggled down the stretch after starting 10-1 for them to finish. What did they finish? 1-6 after starting 10-1, whatever it was. That's pretty brutal way for Philly to end that season. I would not have assumed the Saints would have won that game, but you certainly would have had a great shot to win that game at home against a Philly team that was pretty clearly limping to the finish. UB1, Hunter Pope, what's going on? Trivy said it's 29 in Northwest Florida. Okay, you're there in the Panhandle. Troy Lewis, David Lawrence, Gregory Gordy. The Coca-Cola plant shut down for the day so I can watch more Morning Scone. Love it, Gregory. Thanks for being there, man. All right. Ryan Pike, see, they can say they want to go in a different direction, but until their alternative leaks out or something, I'll stay wanting Corey Raymond back. I think that's what, listen, I started telling you that LSU has spoken to Karl Scott. Again, that's all I'm willing to say. I don't know if it was for cornerbacks or safeties. I don't know if it was for DB coach to handle both. My understanding is Blake Baker wants two. He wants a cornerbacks coach and a safeties coach. But I do not know the answer. I do not know if a job was offered. I do not know any of that. All I know is that LSU. I'm comfortable saying that LSU has made contact with Karl Scott. So to what extent, I don't know. But a lot of you had been asking me about Karl Scott, and I made some calls yesterday, and that's kind of what I got was, there are people on staff and in the administration conflicted on Corey Raymond. There are people on staff and in the administration who want him back and are pushing to bring him back. And there are people on staff and in the administration who want to go a different direction. So that's why I keep saying, ultimately, who has the final say? And I don't know the answer. But that's the holdup. For those of you who ask me every day, what's the holdup? That's the holdup. Justin Frank said it would be a tremendous mistake to pass on a guy like Karl Scott to hire Corey Raymond. Justin, there's no reason to say you couldn't hire both. Could Corey coach corners and Karl Scott coach safeties? That's certainly a possibility, if that's what Blake Baker wants. You remember Blake Baker coached with Corey on that 2020 staff when he was here for that 1 year. So, or 2021, excuse me, when he was here for that 1 year. So, so he knows him, knows the man, knows the coach, how he recruits, all that stuff. Brett Gidry. Hashtag team no punctuation. He puts, it's pronounced Tangipahoa. Does think Scott is DB if Harbaugh leaves BK to Michigan. No punctuation at all. Nothing. All right, y'all. What else we got? We got any more? Let's see. All right, Jeffrey Kaliva, what's up? Ernest Gray, why do you think Mason would declare for the draft knowing he didn't have a good season? Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of reasons, Ernest. Number one, I think every player has different considerations. Not everybody loves school. That's part of it, right? I think that's one thing with Mason. They didn't love going to school. That's okay. I didn't like going to school. There's a lot of people who don't like going to class. I think it's certainly part of his consideration that he already suffered one season-ending injury. Do you come back and risk injury again? Are you ready to just go start your NFL career? Remember, unless if you're going to be a round one pick or a top half of round one pick, a lot of the money is relatively negligible. So the difference between being a third round pick and an undrafted free agent might be, a few $100,000. So, for a lot of guys, you're not getting paid until your second contract. So it's let me go start the clock ticking to the second contract. So I think so many times as fans, we just think in terms of, come back, you can increase your draft stock. But seldom is that the only consideration. Mason's a guy that came here as a 5-star and probably in his mind always thought he was going to be 3 years into the league and that was it. And so he's reached the end of those 3 years. He suffered a season-ending injury. I don't think he loves going to class, which again, I'm not being critical. There's a lot of guys who are made to go to college because they have to play football and maybe don't love school, and that's okay. So again, I don't think it's not just oh man, come back, you can increase your draft stock. I think there's I don't think I know. There's just way more considerations than that. Joe Parker, Matt, do the polar plunge. No shot. I hate being cold. Wonder why it's taking so long to name an OC. Thought they would have named Joe Sloan by now. Yeah, Joe, I think internally they probably know what they're going to do, and they're probably expressing that to recruits and all that sort of stuff. But they still have to structure their staff. It's the thing I keep saying. But I think what I have said is there has been movement toward making Sloan and Hankton co-OCs with just what they did in the bowl game, right? With Sloan calling plays. Terry McGill, did you already discuss Karl Scott yet? Yes, did that at the beginning of the show. And again, just to recap, for those maybe just joining, my the only thing that I'm comfortable saying is that LSU has made contact with Karl Scott. I don't know if it's for the corner's job or the safety's job or a DB's coach to do both. I don't know if they've offered him the job. I don't know any of that, being very clear. All I know is that because some of you had asked about Karl Scott, I asked around yesterday, and yes, LSU's reached out. Drew's awake. Cajun Bradley Cooper, good morning. Ivan Salazar, wondering how much fun Denbrock must be having in Notre Dame shoveling snow away from his driveway. I think Mike's going to be doing just fine. As always, shout out to Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, and Hudco Roofing. If you need an orthopedist, Brock, they're the best. Offices all over the greater Baton Rouge area. Clinic in Hammond, yes, in Tangipahoa or Tangipahoa, depending if you want to say it correctly or not. And of course, Hudco Roofing. Hudco has if you had snow or ice on your roof, Hudco has some posts on social media about warning signs and things to look at. So you may want to check that out. And of course, if you do have any issues, what you see commonly with weather like this is you'll see branches freeze and then snap and fall on a roof. That could cause roof damage. Ice could damage shingles. If compacted snow sits on your roof for too long, that could cause damage. So anyway, if you have or think you might have roof damage as a result of this storm, let us come take a look. We're not putting anybody on a roof today, not with the ice and everything, but we can get to you soon. Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Ryan Slayton, what pair of snowshoes are you wearing today? Man, I don't have my snow boots anymore. If you're talking about what sneakers I'm aware of, something that I don't mind getting wet. Jason Robertson, good morning from Southern California. Looking forward to the Tigers and the Trojans and Bruins this fall. John Favors, no, John. To answer your question, no. Just flatly no, that wasn't a fact. That is not a factor. Strong side, good morning. 31 days till first pitch. Hey, Dad, good morning. Still freezing. Dad, you have a tough time driving home from Kansas, man. I don't know if Dad, did you drive or did you fly? I guess you're flying home, huh? I don't know. Tim C, good morning. Slade Nagels also coach special teams. Maybe bring him as tight end special teams. That's a consideration. But the only thing I've said, Tim, is that I know initially when they made a lot of staff changes, there was a desire to have a full-time special teams coordinator. I just don't think that's likely. Well, let me rephrase. I don't know how you do that if you structure that, right? Ryan Slayton, you have more leverage in a draft your junior year. Ryan, that's only in baseball because you have the option of return. Remember in the NFL, if you enter the draft, you can't go back to school. So the leverage thing for underclassmen, that's only true in baseball because if you're drafted and don't like where you're drafted, you just go back to school. So not exactly true in football. Crusher said, which whistle pig should I buy? So listen, the Whistle Pig 10-year, I think, is the best value. The 12-year is a little lower proof, and the 15 is perfectly fine, but the price differential between the 10 and the 15 is not worth it. Now, if money is no option, you're just going to spend whatever you want, then get them all and try them all and make up your own mind. But if it were me, I wouldn't buy the 12 or the 15. I would just buy and I have all of them, but I would just buy the 10-year. Now there's also farm stock and there's piggyback, which is a 6-year rye. So they have different, Whistle Pig has different, expressions and different releases. But if you're just talking about their standard, their old world rye, I would go with the 10-year. Brian Chesanek, who do you think is set up better for 24, Notre Dame or LSU? I can't say I know everything about Notre Dame's roster 1 to 85. Obviously, they were so invested this year into Sam Hartman. They went back into the portal this year and got Riley Leonard from Duke. So keep tapping the portal there for quarterbacks. And then schedule matters as well. I think that's a big part of it. I haven't looked at Notre Dame's schedule for next year, but LSU's is brutal. Notre Dame's 24 schedule is they open up at Texas A&M, first game for Mike Elko, who of course was the DC at Notre Dame before he left for A&M. Then they play Northern Illinois at home. They're at Purdue, Miami of Ohio, Louisville there in South Bend. They host Stanford. They're at Georgia Tech, home against Navy. They get Florida State at home, Virginia at home. and then they go to USC. I mean, that's a really, really manageable schedule. So just based on schedule alone, probably Notre Dame. Okay, Dad, you're flying home Friday. Okay, good. Flying, not driving. That's probably a good thing. H-Town Creole, the Illinois defensive backs coach, are sending higher drafted cornerbacks to the league lately. There's a lot of good DB coaches out there. That's true, but you also have to get players. And that's been LSU's biggest problem over the last 3 years, is they've gone heavy portal at corner, and the high school corners they've signed haven't exactly been 5-star blue chip guys like they were churning through here for a decade. So if given the preference, would I rather a really good technical coach coaching 3 stars, or would I rather a bunch of 5 stars? Give me the 5 stars. Brad Sellers. Why is it hard for Jimmy to complete a sentence? That is definitely one of his, and I love Jimmy. I love Jimmy dearly. That is definitely one of his. We all have shortcomings on air. Everybody has crutches and shortcomings. That is definitely one of Jimmy's. He'll start a sentence and stop, and not finish the sentence. Like when he's getting excited and worked up, he'll start a sentence and stop the sentence and not finish the thought, and go a different direction. He does. That's funny. Oh, man. Go Tigers. Why is it so hard for Charlie and Jimmy to open the laptop and get on YouTube? I will tell you one of my top priorities here in 24 is to get a video, a workable video setup option for them on remote. And one of the biggest problems is they just don't want to fool with it. So I could find something that's very easy to do, but then Handy gets flustered sometimes. And so whenever something isn't working or whatnot, and we can't put a tech on remote with them every day. That's not a cost-effective solution to have to pay someone to be on remote with them every day. So, anyway, Melanie Vole, Matt, is it raining in Baton Rouge? No, it's not. It's actually sunny and really nice right now, but cold. Have you tried the new Traveler whiskey? I have not. Let's see. Arc La Tex Infidel. Sounded great, Matt. Can't tell the difference of the camera on YouTube. So I'm not using, so YouTube, there's nothing different. YouTube, that's just my phone. That's just my phone set up on YouTube. On Facebook, I'm using a streaming laptop and I have a microphone now. And my plan for tomorrow is to have my streaming, I'll spill the beans, to have my streaming software set up where I will originate the feed from a camera and this microphone and send it to YouTube and to Facebook and maybe TikTok and other places as well. And so everybody will get the same feed, same audio, camera, everything. So that's my plan, knock on wood, for tomorrow, provided something doesn't interfere. Melanie, have you heard anything new about Lance Hurd? No, I'm not sure where he's going. Garrett Hoyt, Matt, how do we feel about the Bama hire? Would you rather see them hire someone else in relation to having to play than scheme against them? Yeah, I mean, I wish they would have hired Matt Luke from Ole Miss. That's who I wish they would have hired. I mean, I think he's a good hire. You know, Kalen DeBoer is a really good coach. He's won everywhere he's been. But the reality is, Garrett, that no matter who they would have hired, and literally anyone is better than Nick Saban. From an LSU perspective, I mean. I would rather anyone Anyone other than Nick Saban. Thank you, Barry. Very kind of you. Okay, Brian, what makes you believe Kelly can win a title? What makes you hesitant so far in his tenure? What makes me believe he can win a title? Well, I mean, it's the circumstance of the last three coaches at LSU have all won national titles, and I don't think Les Miles or Ed Ogeron are nearly as good a coach as Brian Kelly is. It's the dirt we talk about all the time. He will be able to build a roster at LSU that he's not able to build at Notre Dame, which is why he took the job. So, I mean, that's primarily the number one reason. I mean, he's a great coach who's won a ton of games and won everywhere he's been. He's got a good structure. He's got a good plan, culture, organization, all that stuff. So for all those reasons, it's pretty obvious. Mm. Mm. Anyway. Oops. Well, my comments on Facebook just went away. I don't know where they went. Yeah, I don't know. Oh well. All right, I think we're just about done anyway. Let's see. Any more? Barry, love the show. Never miss. Thank you, Barry. And then Brian said, what makes you hesitant so far in his tenure? I think it was early not taking advantage of the dirt. I think it is very, very obvious, should be very obvious to everyone, how different the approach is now with Frank Wilson as a recruiting coordinator as opposed to what it was with Brian Polian. I know I keep giving the example, but you invested resources to go recruit 3-star cornerback Jeremiah Hughes out of Bishop Gorman in Las Vegas when you could throw a rock and hit a dozen 3-star cornerbacks in Louisiana who are dogs. So I think that's the biggest difference is you're letting Frank Wilson control that now. And Frank's going to do it differently. And he's going to build you a roster that is going to look like the rosters that won championships here. Hunter Picard, did you talk about Jeff Duncan's tweet? People have asked about it. I don't know what it means. Basically saying there's a big day there at Saints headquarters. I don't know what that means. So I'm interested, though. I'm hopeful. Chad Pickett game coin update. Yes, someone asked a little bit ago as well, Chad. I'm actually on a call this morning at 10 a.m. For Gamecoin, and the next update that will be released, we will be releasing images of what the digital cards will look like. They look awesome with all the different levels and all the different. So I mean, I'm excited to be on this call today because I'll have way more info. But you've heard us say it's closed before. And for a lot of reasons, so I'm guessing a lot of you probably didn't see on the updates that have been put out there. But there were things that slowed the progress and the development of the platform that were out of our control. But had tip to David Mailer, who has just continued to plow forward and carve that path, man. And it's really exciting to be close. And I don't know if you're into crypto at all or not, but Gamecoin or not, like crypto is starting to get fun. You start to like ear to ground. The halving is coming this spring, and next fall is going to start to get like really, really fun. So, so I'm excited. Anyway, Okay. Do you think recruiting will be a lot better with Nick Saban gone? Yes. Joe, what do you think LSU's chances are in acquiring more defensive line talent through the portal? They have to. Uh, I've said you have wants and needs and musts. I put like a receiver that they got, CJ Daniels, as a want. I would put corner, a starting corner, as a need. Interior defensive line, absolute must. You got to go add an interior defensive lineman. So, Gregory Gordy, how do you buy Gamecoin? So go to the website and you'll see there's a DEX, which is a, I'm sorry, not a DEX. There's well, yeah, I guess Pancake Swap is a DEX, which is a decentralized exchange. And they'll walk you through how to do it there at the website. If you go to thegamecoin.net, you will see when you click the tab at the top, it says buy Gamecoin, and it'll walk you through. There's even video tutorials of how to do it if you've never bought crypto before, if you're interested. So, but essentially, you have to buy Binance coin and then swap Binance for Gamecoin on a DEX, which is a decentralized exchange like Pancake Swap. But there are like step-by-step video tutorials of how to do it if you've never bought crypto before. So anyway, okay, we're done. Thanks so much for being there. As always, shout out to Brock, the Vantage Orthopedic Clinic, and Hudco Roofing. If you need an orthopedist, Brock, they're the best. You need a roof, give us a shout, Hudco Roofing, hudcoroofing.com. Have an awesome day. Peace.